Leading a team that engaged in shared leadership saved my life. When I deployed in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom, I was given the opportunity to lead a maintenance recovery team. Our mission was to go out on the main supply routes and recover or bring back damaged or destroyed vehicles. We were essentially AAA in a combat zone, where the enemy was always trying to adapt their tactics and techniques to destroy us. More on that in a bit. The future of work is changing. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, quantum computing, virtual work environments, hybrid work environments. We have moved from the industrial age well into the digital age of work. And as the future of work changes, the future of leadership is changing too. Leadership can no longer only be thought of as a top-down directive approach that occurs within a person who happens to hold a position of authority. Leadership can also be thought of as a social interactive process that occurs between people within a team. Because you don't need a title to lead. Research has shown that when leadership behaviors and responsibilities are shared within a team, when power and influence ebb and flow, when decision-making is more participative, when leadership and followership sway back and forth based on the needs of the team, those teams have higher levels of engagement, creativity, job satisfaction, and view themselves as more effective, which ultimately lead to higher levels of performance. Now, I've been a formal team leader my entire professional career. I've led maintenance teams, distribution teams, city management teams, emergency management teams, and space control operations teams. That's right, space, the final frontier. The common trend is that I have never actually performed the tasks or functions of my team members. I have never been a mechanic, a material handling equipment specialist, a signals analyst, or an IT specialist. How was I going to lead these teams? That was a responsibility and role I had. I knew that a top-down directive approach, where I was the authoritative subject matter expert, funneling and filtering all communication into and out of my position and retaining all decision-making authority, was not going to work. In fact, work would come to a grinding halt. I needed a different approach to leadership. I embraced the idea of sharing leadership behaviors with my team. Sharing leadership behaviors will give you a collaborative edge in the new era of work, and I'd like to share with you the blueprint. There are 5 components that team leaders and organizations can look to in order to cultivate, set the conditions for shared leadership to emerge, develop, and flourish within their team. The first component is the team environment, where the work is being done. Whether that be a physical environment or the virtual environment. As a team leader, you've got the opportunity to give your team access to the resources that they need. Access to information and data for decision making. Access to equipment, supplies. Access to collaborative spaces, whether that be online or physical spaces in the work environment. And access to the people they need. So communication flows organically. Conversations happen. Spontaneous collisions occur throughout the day. As well as setting the conditions for the team atmosphere, where people feel comfortable taking interpersonal risks, making mistakes, trying new things, pushing creative boundaries, and learning, failing, assessing, analyzing, and getting better each step, as well as bringing up dissenting opinions so we have the opportunity to have a robust, rich conversation. As a team leader, giving your team access to these resources sets the conditions for shared leadership to emerge. The second component of the blueprint is team composition. Who is on the team matters. A team leader has the opportunity to bring a diversely composed team together. And functional diversity gives you a strategic advantage because you now have access to a wider range of insights, skills, knowledge, abilities, experience, perspectives, which enables a team to solve more complex challenges and make more informed decisions because you have access to collective knowledge, collective information that can be used to solve some of those big, audacious, and ambiguous goals and objectives in the digital age of work. The right person in the right place at the right time doing the right things with a willingness to lead, starts to form a team of leaders. And as that team forms over time, the third component is team dynamics. And this is how it feels to be a member of a team, how work gets done in terms of collaboration, providing support to one another, trusting one another, communication, being able to share information up, down, left, right, and diagonal instead of holding it as a source of power. Co-creation, utilizing your complementary skills and supplementary skills to make something better than you can make on your own. Getting red and pushing aside your individual agenda to support the collective goals of the team. And cohesion. Over time, your team will become bonded and perform well together as you operate within this environment, leverage your functional diversity, and provide support to one another. The fourth component of the blueprint are team processes. Being able to convert inputs into outputs. Without processes, you have a group of people and a desired outcome. Team processes is what sets you apart. And as you share leadership responsibilities and you leverage your team's composition, think about all of the work that you do today. Information is more accessible. The speed of business is moving faster than ever before. Being able to leverage the strengths of the team versus relying on one single independent leader will take your team's effectiveness to new heights. And the fifth component of the blueprint is team empowerment. This may be the hardest for someone to embrace, to shift from the industrial age mindset of leadership into the digital age mindset of leadership. As a team leader, giving up your power, allowing yourself to be influenced by others in order to get more effectiveness, more efficiency, and higher levels of performance. As a team leader, you can empower your team by tying them together to a collective purpose and a team vision, by giving them meaningful work and sharing how they tie and come together to support the overall goals of the organization. Checking on your team, showing concern for your team, being connected with your team, and removing roadblocks and getting out of the way. Giving your team the autonomy and space they need to make their own decisions and execute their work as they see fit. As that happens over time, this team of leaders that you're building and formed shares empowerment. They share a belief of their efficacy. They share a belief of the impact of their work. And they share leadership behaviors and responsibilities. Because no one person has all the requisite skills or knowledge or omnipotence to be everywhere all at once in the day and age that we work in. So what does shared leadership look like in action? As a maintenance recovery team officer in charge, I was responsible for leading one of two teams that operated 24 hours on, 24 hours off. When we got a mission that came over our radio net, we had to be up and out of our operating base within 60 minutes. No two missions were the same. Different weather, different time of day, different vehicle, different damage, different enemy tactics and techniques. We needed to move swiftly, securely, and be creative problem solvers on the fly. When I take a step back and think about how our team excelled in that environment, shared leadership was abundant, and it was intentional. Our team environment had a carved out space on our operating base where we staged our vehicles, gave our team access to supplies, where we had time to do our after-action reviews, to find out what went well and what didn't, where we had time to change over with the incoming and outgoing teams. And the atmosphere was set by me. We had a very diversely composed team, rank as well as function. Heavy equipment operators, wheeled vehicle specialists, welders, crane operators, combat lifesavers, combat drivers, and me, a non-technical team leader. I ensured my team explicitly stated that everybody has a responsibility and a role to play, no one more or less important than the other, regardless of rank, myself included. I took accountability for every action that occurred when we left the operating base on our recovery sites. But I also extended my team the trust and support that they needed to operate effectively. Over time, our team became bonded. We had a strong purpose to go out and keep the supply routes clear so that our other soldiers could move about the battlefield freely, so that those soldiers stuck there in that position could come home safely. We had to pull our own security, which means not only were the lives of our fellow soldiers depending on us, our own lives were depending on us. And we were the best of the best. As I look back and I recall my last mission, we were returning back to our operating base. We came upon a multi-vehicle accident. There was an open bed gravel truck hauling gravel, spilling its load out of the back. That truck came to an abrupt stop. The trail Humvee slid, striking that gravel truck, tipping it over. Spun 90 degrees and was struck by the following Humvee in a T-bone style collision. Without missing a beat, my team sprung into action. No call over the radio. The wreck just happened. No clear direction for me because I wasn't in the lead vehicle. My team had that perimeter secured. My combat lifesavers were providing first aid, and I was able to link up with my counterpart to take command and control of the site, find out what they needed to keep moving forward. Creative problem solving, critical thinking, team leadership. As it turns out, there was a soldier that was pinned inside the Humvee that got struck in a T-bone style accident. Their right leg was caught between the chassis of the vehicle and the front passenger door. A clear compound fracture. They started bleeding profusely. Time was of the essence. I asked my counterpart to call a medical evacuation helicopter. And as I did, my team already had a solution. See, we couldn't pull the door open because of where the soldier's leg was stuck, inside a pivot point. It was doing further damage. No problem, they said, LT, Lieutenant. A fire blanket, an oxyacetylene welding torch, and a rigging system to take the weight off the door. Shove this fire blanket between the soldier's leg, protect it from the torch, cut the door off the hinges, and support its weight. I gave them my nod of approval, accepting the risk and acknowledging the fact that they came up with something so creative. When you give your team the space and opportunity to think and act on their own, they will come up with the most creative solutions. I asked them where they needed most of my help. They handed me a big metal tank bar and asked if I could pry open the door to take some of the pressure off the hinges. So I climb on top of that Humvee and I shove that tank bar in. And as I do, I look around. Security element, communicating, up, down, left, and right, pushing the perimeter back. We had a crowd starting to form around us. Time was ticking. Combat lifesavers continuing to provide first aid and medical care for the soldiers that needed it. My recovery element, assessing the situation, already had a plan on how they were going to tip that gravel truck back up and recover it so that we can get this convoy moving down the road. And my crack squad of MacGyvers, with their creative thinking for a solution that we needed and we needed it now. I pried that door open. It comes off the hinges, the medical evacuation helicopter lands, we extract the soldiers safely to get the care that they needed. We recover the vehicle, and we return back to our operating base. My team didn't need a top-down directive authoritarian, barking orders, retaining command and control, retaining decision-making, slowing things down. What my team needed was a leader willing to create the environment where they could think creatively, use their voice, come up with solutions, care for one another, support one another, trust one another. When I say shared leadership saved my life, I believe that it saved my life and the life of my soldiers. Dozens of missions conducted in a combat zone, 0 fatalities, everyone returned home. If we could share leadership in the most austere environment, with the most complex set of challenges, and the highest consequence of failure being loss of life, imagine how strong and effective your teams will be when you share your voice, your insights, and your leadership as we move forward together into the future.